The Dark Knight of Gotham City begins his war on crime with his first major enemy being Jack Napier, a criminal who becomes the clownishly homicidal Joker. This is the first film in the Tim Burton Joel Schumacher universe. This episode of Still Holds Up, we're talking about Batman 1989. Let's get into it.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man!
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
All right, Max, how you doing?
Doing great.
How's your day? What have you been up to?
The usual, but I'm really excited to jump into this Batman talk, one of my favorite movies growing up.
There's a lot of movies that have changed the course of the way movies have been done, and this is definitely one of them. This changed the course of how I believe superhero movies would be done. Because back then, I mean, it was, the gold standard was Superman. Superman 1, Superman 2. Then they fell off on 3 and 4, but that was pretty much the gold standard. And then even back then, I mean, if you compare it to what was around, it wasn't an impressive list. Let me pull this up really fast so we can look at it. Let me put this in the list of order that it came out.
You're being kind.
I'm going to be very kind.
That list is pretty brutal.
Let's start from 1980 really fast. So this is the competition that Batman had. You've got Hero at Large. That came out in 1980. Not really too familiar with. Puma Man.
Nope.
Flash Gordon, I know it's your favorite.
I love that. He was a quarterback of the Jets in the movie. I'm a huge Jets fan.
Okay.
And I heard you haven't watched it, so we're definitely going to do that as one of the episodes.
I want to watch it. So then you have arguably the best Superman movie, Superman 2.
Yep.
Most likely probably the Donner cut would be the one. Then you got Popeye. Condor Man. Yeah, interesting. Swamp Thing.
I like Swamp Thing. I like the little TV show that came off of that TV movie.
Yeah.
So I have nothing against Swamp Thing. I thought it was okay.
Okay. All right. And then you got Tron, which superhero movie, I'm not too sure if we can call it that, and Tron was more, I think Tron was more popular just because of the special effects that it was doing. The story, I'm not too sure. Jeff Bridges holds up in anything. So
of course.
If you got Big Lebowski in your movie, then you're pretty good to go. All right, then you got the return of Captain Invincible. Never heard of it. Superman 3. It's probably, in my opinion, probably the worst Superman movie there is.
Hard pass.
I love Richard Pryor, but what he's doing in a Superman movie does make no sense. Supergirl. I liked Supergirl when I was a kid. I haven't seen it recently. I'm pretty sure it probably doesn't hold up because these ratings aren't that great.
It'll definitely be an episode. I know a lot of people have issues with it.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't, but we're going to get to that.
Okay. Well, let me skim through these really fast. And then you got the Toxic Avenger, Highlander, not a superhero movie. I love the Highlander though.
Great movie.
Howard the Duck, that's
cringe.
Wrong on so many levels.
The girl, the duck.
Oh, but Leah Thompson though.
Yeah, but it's a duck.
All right, Mr. India, I don't even know what to say about that. RoboCop, not a superhero movie. Superman 4, Masters of the Universe, Incredible Hulk, The Toxic Avenger Part 2. So anyways, you're going through this list, and there's a couple things in there, but nothing that's like what we're about
Nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, nothing that we're about to see in the theaters in 1989. So I don't know when I saw it. I can't tell you if I saw it right when it came out. I can't tell you if I saw it opening day. I can't tell you if I saw it like a couple weeks later. But I can tell you that it was an event.
Oh, yeah.
When I went and saw it, and it changed. That movie made me a DC fanboy when I was a kid. I'm telling you right now. Before that, it was Transformers, it was G.I. Joes.
Ninja
Turtles. I'm not really sure when Ninja Turtles came out. It might have came out a little bit.
Ghostbusters. I know, those were for me.
Yeah, but I can tell you the comic book world hadn't grabbed me yet. But this movie started the whole trend. Like this movie comes out, then you get the Batman animated series that comes out later, then you're introduced to Kevin Conroy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, it changes everything. And changes so much that like back then movies took like a year to come out, right? To VHS. On VHS.
Yeah.
And so when I got that, it was another event. My mom went and she waited in front of, I think it was the warehouse, and got it. Got me a VHS player, put it in my bedroom, and I think I only watched that for months on repeat. So thanks, Mom. Anyway, so That's how important this Batman movie is. And it's a lot of controversy before it even comes out on who they picked to play Batman, who they picked to play Bruce Wayne. Michael Keaton was not a favorite of anybody's, really. I think DC fanboys started a petition to DC and to Warner Brothers, basically stating we don't want Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's not muscles. Michael Keaton's not, rigid enough. He's not, he's not a...
He's like your typical action hero for the times.
Not only that, but he's also not considered like this desirable dude, right? Like Bruce Wayne's supposed to be like a playboy on one side of the coin, and then the other side of the coin is supposed to be a super badass who knows how to kick everyone's ass. And, that wasn't the case for Michael Keaton. No one saw Michael Keaton like that. They saw Mr. Mom. They saw a guy who's going to take care of his kids while his mom's at work.
It's a good movie, though.
It's a great movie. They didn't see that. So when this movie came out, I'm pretty sure it shut everybody up. But reviews weren't that great when it did come out, which is crazy because everybody, I've seen everybody loved it, but Ebert gave it just 2 stars.
Oh, ouch.
He said it's a triumph of design over story, which I completely disagree with that, and we'll talk about that in a second. It has style over substance, a great-looking movie with a plot you can't care much about. That's hardcore. And then the Hollywood Reporter said, this Batman is a stunning achievement, especially through the incredible and unique visualization of director Tim Burton. The film may be disappointing to those expecting a campy cartoon because it wasn't like the show from the 70s.
Yeah, Adam West.
Yeah. However, although the more dramatic stylization of this version is its strongest asset. So that, once again, doesn't really talk about the story. And the story, once we actually had to take notes, I found that it was actually more deeper than I remember as a kid. There was a lot of little things in there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with both their takes. Of course, it did look great, especially at the time, some of the CGI they were doing in there.
Absolutely.
But the story was, when you're watching it, captivating enough for you to keep watching it. It wasn't like, oh, this is just some, ridiculous action movie only. Why is he doing this? Why is not? There was not a lot of holes in there. So that I thought was a complete miss. I thought, and this is me rewatching it now as an adult, the story holds up fine. It's not like it was one of those things like, oh, this is only going to be captivating for a child. Right. Kind of thing. The other thing I noticed in those reviews is that he was deliberately mentioning that some people would be disappointed that it wasn't campy. That imagine today if Marvel or DC makes a movie that's kind of, Superman 1 or Adam West campy, people would be up in arms. It just shows you how much of a paradigm shift this movie has done in terms of hero movies and Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
You can think of making a comic book movie now campy. It has to be gritty and dark to an extent.
Yeah, you can't make it campy, especially the way the kids' minds are right now. Everything's got to be really fast-paced. There's got to be a lot of stuff happening on screen in order to capture their attention. But no, I agree with you 100%. Here's a couple fun facts. Robin Williams some of these fun facts I found on IMDb. Robin Williams was offered the role of the Joker when Jack Nicholson hesitated. He had even accepted the role. When producers approached Nicholson again and told him Williams would take the part if he didn't, Nicholson took the role, and Williams was released. Williams was pissed off about that. So he was pissed off because he was used as bait. And so Williams actually was supposed to come back. But they wanted him to come back and play the Riddler in Batman Forever. Wow. But he was so mad at Warner Brothers because they basically used him to get Nicholson that he was like, I'm not doing that movie. I'm not going to be part of that franchise.
I love Robin Williams, but I think if he was the Joker, he might have taken it a little too far. Sometimes he gets a little over the top, and for sure, I don't think he would have played the role of Jack Napier as well as Jack Nicholson did. That scene we're going to talk about with the mirror scene when we are introduced to Jack Napier, I don't think Robin Williams would have executed it as well as Jack Nicholson did. That smugness. Yeah. And then the Riddler side, I love Jim Carrey. That would have been interesting, but I'm not recasting Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
No, I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan. If Jim Carrey wanted to play every role in this movie, I would allow that. I'm sure people that listen to this might have some different takes on Robin Williams than you did, because I know Robin Williams has a decent portfolio when it comes to drama stuff.
Oh, I love that one he did with Al Pacino. What is it? The one where Insomnia, where he plays like that serial killer. That's pretty, he has depth.
Yeah. He does. I wouldn't have minded. A couple other fun facts really fast. Let me see if I can just jump in here really quick. I'll throw them out there as quick as I can before we can actually talk about the actual movie itself.
It was Al Pacino.
Okay.
Think about it. Yeah.
Let's see. Jack Nicholson received a percentage of the gross of the film, and due to its massive box office take, he took home around $60 million. When it's adjusted for inflation, that would have been $143 million he would have made off of Batman.
That's a great business manager. I don't know who was responsible for that, but he deserves it. It's his movie.
That is great. So Billy D. Williams, which we're going to talk about Billy D. Williams, he was expected to play Two-Face in Batman Forever, but Warner Brothers preferred Tommy Lee Jones, so they released Billy D. But he would later come back and voice Two-Face in the Lego Batman movie with Will Arnett. Let's see, we already talked about the controversy of Michael Keaton. They did talk about having Mel Gibson play Bruce Wayne, but he was already committed to Lethal Weapon 2. And Sylvester Stallone, here, I think you might have found this one.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone said this movie basically ruined muscle-bound action stars in the 80s. Now you got an action movie that proves that you don't have to go to the gym and work out. You can basically put on the foam, you can put on the muscle suit and make yourself look muscular. So,
I asked Val Kilmer, George Clooney, even fast forwarded to, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You don't need to have, muscles, Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone, those guys in the 80s that made awesome movies, though.
Right.
You don't need those guys anymore.
Right.
You can get Mr. Mom to be a superhero.
Yeah. That's it for the top talking points. Let's go ahead. Let's listen to the trailer. Let's talk about the trailer real fast, right?
Yeah.
Vicky Vale.
Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Nice outfit.
You look fine.
I didn't ask. I have given a name to my pain.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Where did you get those wonderful toys?
My life is really complex.
Winged freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
All right.
Awesome.
Now that's a trailer right there. So it's interesting about this trailer, not a lot of music.
No.
And then also that you didn't have that typical 80s, 90s voiceover guy.
Don LaFontaine.
That's his name?
That's the guy. And I needed that one man line that he does well.
If that
missing.
If that trailer exists, I couldn't find it. So I don't think they did release that. But I do know that they did do a teaser trailer. Like they sent it out as fast as possible in the editing room. And this might have been one of them. That might be a reason why there's not a lot of music in it.
Elfman?
Yeah, maybe Danny Elfman wasn't finished doing the music yet, which is amazing, which we'll talk about that. They did a fast cut of this to get it out there to kind of show everybody that, hey, Michael Keaton can play Batman. Don't worry, this Batman movie is going to be totally fine. Everybody relax. And it definitely did that. And I'll tell you right now, we see a lot of trailers that don't hold up to the movie. This holds up. Like this bit, as far as like this trailer set the tone, and then when you went and saw the movie, you got what you had hoped for. You didn't go and they didn't show all the best parts in the trailer, and then everything else was just filler. At least for me, I was like, yeah, this rocks.
Yeah, even watching it today, it still makes you want to run to go watch the movie again. You know, so that definitely shows you how it's such a quality trailer.
Yeah. the opening credits in the movie, when you see all like the flying text and everything like that, but the Batman music, the first time you hear that, really sets the tone for the entire movie. And Elfman did such a fabulous job throughout this entire film. It's between him and Prince as far as like all the music that you hear throughout it. It sets the tone. It's so good.
That Batman stuff that he put together, it's not only epic through this movie, but 30 years later, you still see it peppered in other Batman media, and you just hear it. You instantly know we're talking about Batman. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, no, he definitely has. He created a theme that definitely stands the test of time, and I guarantee you they're going to keep going. They'll keep revisiting it. They may manipulate it and kind of change things out, but as far as like the tone that he set, it's going to be used a lot. So. The movie starts off it's kind of like a paradox. Like what would be the right word to say here? It kind of starts off with you see like this father and mother with this kid leave a theater, and it's almost going to show you
I think they call that a red herring.
Is that a red herring?
Yeah, I think that's we could look it up again, but I think that's what they call a red herring because even before anything, Batman's origin story is his parents get killed.
I see. Here's the thing, though.
In the comics,
I didn't yet. So,
red herring.
Is it red herring? Okay.
Here's the definition: something, especially a clue, that is or is intended to be misleading or distracting.
All right, so the movie starts off with a red herring, right? So it starts off with a couple and their kid leaving. I think they're leaving a movie theater. Yeah, and they go down the wrong alley, kind of
making wrong decisions.
Yeah, and then you don't realize that it's a red herring, or at least for me, I didn't realize it because I hadn't seen the movie yet, and I also didn't know the backstory of Bruce Wayne, so I didn't understand that his parents get killed in the alleyway and stuff like that, like you've seen now a bunch of times in film and then in TV shows and stuff like that. So the opening scene starts off with,
You think it's an origin story. This is where it's starting.
Yeah, but
this is how it becomes.
It's not his origin story. This couple gets mugged. These little crack guys, they take what they got, the jewelry, the money, whatever, and they go up and they start hanging out on the top of the building. The tweakers, right? And so that whole scene brings me up to the first scene that I think is most memorable. And we already heard it. Like we listened to it in the beginning of the podcast. It's basically when Batman comes down, you see Batman in his costume for the first time. He beats the crap out of these guys. I think he crushed the guy's chest when he kicked him through the wall. But he does that famous line, "I'm Batman." Yeah. Like, what are you? I'm Batman. And that was, as far as I know, that was ad-libbed. That wasn't actually part of the script. I think Michael Keaton did a bunch of different takes, saying a bunch of different things. And then at some point, I think he just said, "I'm Batman," and Tim Burton goes, "Let's keep that." That's the one. You see? I read that somewhere. I'm not 100% sure if that's true.
We're going to give him credit for it, especially after everybody didn't want him to be Batman. Let's give him some credit here.
I think he sets the movie's already, like, with the credits, the opening scene of the couple getting mugged with the kid, and then all of a sudden Batman comes in, kicks the crap out of these guys, and then, says the line on Batman. The movie, the tone is set. Yeah. Every single thing else after that is, should be icing. So the next scene I want to talk about, the Joker sees himself in the mirror for the first time, right? And we talked about this for a second. If Robin Williams was to play this character, would it have been this powerful? So to set up the scene really fast, and we're going to listen to it. Before this even happens, Jack Napier, he goes to this chemical plant with his goons to try to
get documents and get rid of some documents. Because Harvey Dent was investigating the shell companies of Grissom. Right. The mob boss.
Right. And then Grissom sends Jack Napier to this chemical plant, basically sets him up because Grissom finds out that Napier is sleeping with Alicia.
His girlfriend.
Grissom's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So basically he sets him up to get killed by, what's this guy's name?
Eckhart.
The
dirty, crooked cop.
Dirty, crooked, like that guy, he's just dirty looking, dirty sounding, and he's just a dirty cop. So Napier's there to do all this stuff with his guys. The cops show up, but then Batman shows up, and Batman gets put they have their confrontation. Somehow, during the confrontation, a bullet ricochets off of Batman's wrist, goes through Napier's cheeks. So I think this is how we get the smiling. Smile, I always thought it was the chemical plant, but that's something I didn't notice after going back and rewatching this and taking notes. I didn't realize that a bullet went through both of his cheeks.
Yeah, they even show you, some scarring while he's dangling.
Yeah, it's gruesome. But anyways, so then he gets dropped into the acid. or to the chemical plant. We're going to call it acid for right now. So anyways, fast forward to this scene. So now he has somehow gotten out of the acid, the chemicals. A doctor is taking care of him, and he's taking off the bandages of his face, and he sees his face for the first time. So let's go ahead and let's listen to this really quick.
Mirror. Mirror!
You understand that the nerves were completely severed, Mr. Napier. You see what I have to work with here.
So really, is the doctor German?
I don't know. Is he I don't know. Is he like some ex-Nazi surgeon here? It's interesting why they chose that accent of all things. Like, and if when you watch it, it's like the dirtiest basement dwelling you could think of for 1989.
And you look at the tools, and it's like, where did you find these? Did you dig them out of the dirt first? Were they actually from World War II that you brought them over?
Yeah, it's horrible. And, to reference back, it's not that I don't think Robin Williams could have executed this scene. This isn't the mirror scene I'm referring to. It's the one where we first are introduced to Jack Napier, and he's with Alicia, and she like touches him, and she gives him that look.
So that's under one of my greatest lines. So what you're talking about right now, I have that written down. Let me see. That's one of my greatest lines. Let me see. Alicia says to Jack while he's fixing himself in the mirror.
Yeah, that's the scene.
You look fine. And he replies with, I didn't ask.
Yeah.
And then after looks at her hand, just to let her know, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, get your hand off me. Don't touch me. Yeah.
I don't think Robin Williams could have executed that one that well.
I might be with you on that because there's some charismatic there, charismatic about Nicholson right there that I don't think
that's just cool.
Yeah, I don't think Robin Williams pulls it off. So I don't think Mork does it back then.
But this scene where he smashes the mirror and he starts that Joker laugh that now is synonymous with the Joker, right?
Yeah, and you hear that laugh. Yeah, that's the first time you hear that laugh in the movie, and it's now we're setting another tone as far as like this dude's going to be nuts throughout the entire
thing.
And he definitely sets a tone for craziness that I think is overlooked a lot now.
Yeah,
that going back and rewatching this movie, it's so good, it's so powerful. But we're going to talk about the branding of this character right after this scene. So Joker's already gone to the other mob boss guys, right?
Yeah.
And he's
killed Grissom already.
He's already killed. He already went and killed Grissom. Then he meets with the mob boss guys. And basically said he's taken over. Like Grissom's gone out of town. I'm taking over all of his stuff, and they don't believe him. But he doesn't have his makeup on. Like he doesn't look like the Joker white clown yet. He put like some CoverGirl skin makeup on.
Yeah.
So no one knows that he's got that Joker look yet, except for that weird smile he's got going on.
Yeah.
Basically, none of them are going to listen to him. One guy says, "I'm not going to do this."
And he gives him an out. He says,
he gives him an out. You can
okay.
Just let's shake hands, let's part ways. Then he, with his buzzer hand, he fries him. And so then the dude's like charcoal. He's sitting at the end of the table. Then his guys come in. And so keep in mind, I feel like this is like the same night or maybe the night after he looked at himself in the mirror and he's looked all jacked up and he's killed.
It's within a couple of days.
He's killed Grissom. So these guys come in with some pretty good-looking Joker jackets.
Yeah, they're already now fully rebranded. Because remember, under Grissom's regime, they were all, your typical mob suits.
Yeah.
Now they're like in leather jackets, purple leather jacket with his Joker face on it.
Yeah.
Joker is in all purple, that typical Joker outfit.
Yeah.
And it's like an overnight rebranding that we're going to see that's peppered across the movie at this point.
It's like him and Bob had a meeting. It's like after he saw himself in the mirror, he went over to Bob's house.
Yep.
And him and Bob sat down and they got some drawing board. They got they brought some sketch paper out and stuff like that and started look.
This is what I need.
Coming up with a logo, jacket design. And
I need to find an electric buzzer.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, right?
Bob, you got to make this all happen within like a day.
And Bob's all for it. That's one of my favorite characters in the movie. He's like the best wingman
right.
in this movie. We'll talk about that later on.
Right.
But the guy becomes head of branding and executes flawlessly.
Yeah. Bob is the number one henchman of all time. Let's just say that.
Oh, you know what? That's a good take.
It is. Yeah. So this scene, we're set up the scene. So that has happened. Meanwhile, Vicky and Bruce have finally got together. They slept together, but he says he's going out of town. She didn't believe him. So she starts stalking the guy throughout town.
Yeah.
So is Bob. Bob is also stalking Knox.
Yeah,
so I don't know how Bob's getting away with all this branding stuff because he's still got to go on and do a
full recon,
Magnum PI stuff.
He's doing full recon at this point.
So anyway, Vicky Vale follows Bruce Wayne into this alleyway where he drops some roses, which we find out the meaning for that later, and then he just wanders into this press conference.
Yeah, at City Hall or something, coming right out or.
Yeah, so
the courthouse.
Yeah, right. So he wanders into this press conference that how do you say this guy's name? Recurso?
Yeah, Recurso or something like that.
Yeah, so he's a mob boss person who's basically said...
He was in that meeting.
Yeah, he was in the meeting, and he kind of gave Joker the finger, and he's basically saying he's taken over Grissom's businesses. So let's go ahead. Let's listen to this.
I smell fresh ink, guys. Now, you can prove all this. What am I asking? Of course you can.
We have witnesses. Grissom's signature is perfectly legitimate.
It is legitimate. I saw it. I was there. I saw it all. He reached up with his dead hand and signed it in his own blood. And he did it with this pen. Hello, Vinny. It's your Uncle Bingo. Time to pay the check. The pen is truly mightier than the sword.
So let's go back to branding really fast. So not only do we have jackets, but we also found we have
mimes.
Yeah, so we went to mime school really fast. So in this scene, while the mob boss guy is giving his press conference, letting everybody know he's taking over Grissom's businesses, these mimes start showing up and, doing a bunch of weird stuff. And one of the mimes is the Joker. And so this is the first time that now the Joker's introduced himself, to the world that he's here. And so he comes up, he takes his pen, he throws it in the guy's neck. And then Bruce Wayne looks at him like, this dude looks familiar.
Yeah, like he sees a ghost.
He sees a ghost, and he figures out that Napier's still alive.
Yeah.
And so things are afoot from then on. So anyway,
great scene, though.
I love that scene, and it's so wacky, but yet so brutal at the same time. And
yeah, you didn't see all that coming the first time you watched it.
No.
Because he just had a meeting with all these guys, and you didn't think he was going to take that feather pen and just
right.
shove it down the guy's jugular. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah. I love that scene. That's why it's one of my favorite scenes.
Of course. So now Bob was doing recon at the last scene, taking pictures.
Right.
And you see now Joker's at his hideout, whatever. He's doing some clip art. I don't know what he was doing. He's clipping pictures and things. And actually, there's a great scene in there where you see a table and they hover over it really quickly, and you notice a CIA file of nerve gas.
Right, and that's the first time I noticed that as well.
I noticed that on the rewatch. You see a guy, a military guy, like a soldier with the Joker smile on his face.
Yeah,
it's wow.
It's a bunch of
foreshadowing
pictures
right there.
Yeah, it's a bunch of pictures of people dead from this nerve gas. So I always thought that the Joker made his laughing gas. It turns out no, he just stole it from the CIA.
Yeah. So now when Bob comes in to give his report, you see, Vicky Vale and Joker is immediately hooked right there onto her.
Right.
So now he's like, I need to get a piece of this right here.
I'm infatuated with her. Right.
He sets up a date in the museum with her, and she thinks it's Bruce Wayne setting up this date, but obviously it's the Joker. And a great scene. Joker comes into Prince music. The guys are on brand again. They're dancing now. You didn't see that coming, right? These hard goons are dancing to Prince and just wrecking stuff in the museum.
Yeah,
painting smiley faces and breaking stuff. It's awesome.
So think about that, though. And I love, when you get older and you start thinking about these things. So that means that they had a meeting before they decided to storm the museum. And then I can just visualize it. Joker and Bob had a conversation first about what he wanted to happen, and then Bob kind of goes in and talks to the rest of his minions and basically tells them, okay, guys, look, this is what we're going to do. we're going to go into this museum. Okay, you're going to be the painting guy. What I want you to do is, like, when you see every painting you see, I want you to go and I want you to write a smiley face. You got your knife. I want you to cut that up over there. And then also...
Has a guy come in with a boombox?
Really fast. Does anybody have a boombox?
Yeah, right? Like,
Gerald, you got a boombox? Make sure you bring that. The Prince just released a new track.
We're going to be dancing in.
We're dancing into that.
We're dancing in. We're not walking in. We're dancing in. You know? So it sets up...
Also,
you know,
meanwhile, are we done painting the cars? Make sure everybody's got the cars.
We're going to talk about that when we get outside
yep.
that. So now that leads us into Joker finally getting the face-to-face with Vicky Vale.
Right.
And there's a lot going on in there. You know, this is the first time you see the Joker branded gas mask because he gasses everybody in the museum. Pretty much, I'm assuming all those people are dead. Right?
Yeah, they're dead.
Okay.
They're
so
dead.
He gives her a gas mask in a gift, and you see it's like that orange and purple, again, right on brand.
Yep.
And I think you're about to play that scene where, you know, he tries to, I guess he's trying to change her with the acid like he changed Alicia.
Yeah, because it's the first time you've seen Alicia since he became the Joker, and he like melted her face with that same acid.
Yeah, so he's trying to kind of do the same thing.
Because he thinks
he's
art.
Obviously he's a sick dude. If he thinks out. Like these are pretty women that he's trying to like really change with acid.
All right, let's listen.
I don't know anything about Batman.
Really? Well, how about a little you and me?
You're insane.
I thought I was a Pisces. Come on, let's make up. Have a little whiff of my posy.
Great scene, huh? Did you notice the branding? He had like a purple painter's hat on.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get? He got all this stuff like literally within days. Unbelievable.
Bob the Brander, man. Bob the Brander. So good. So good. Yeah. So, I mean, that scene's great. It shows how nutty the Joker is, you know, throughout, as far as like when his reactions when he actually sees Vicky Vale's portfolio, how he doesn't like any of the model stuff, but when you actually see like all the dead bodies and stuff like that at war, that's the stuff that he really gets into. You see what he did to Alicia, just the way he acts.
He's insane.
He's insane. He does such a great job. Jack Nicholson does such a great job being insane in this movie.
Yeah.
I still think it's overlooked way too much compared to everybody else's stuff. Let's kind of fast forward to our next scene. Bruce Wayne meeting the Joker over at Vicky Vale's place. But let's talk about the stuff that's happened in between there. So far you've seen the Joker, you know, he released the chemical stuff, which has been happening throughout the movie. So now people are dying when they mix chemicals, as far as like hairspray and lipstick and stuff like that. And
you get the crusty looking news reporters.
Yeah, and he's kind of broken the case. So after Vicky Vale gets rescued by Batman in the museum from the Joker, there's this high-speed chase, which brings up like the Joker cars
are
branding.
All purple and green, and they're talking about like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah. So he had all his vehicles repainted to match the branding. I mean, he's all in on this Joker.
Yeah, he's definitely going for it. Like he's full into Joker. So
and Bob executes all this within like 2 days. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not even a week.
Bob the Brander.
Yeah.
So anyways, God, we should get him like a mug. We should get a mug that says number one mob boss.
Number one guy.
It's got a picture of Bob. Number one guy. So anyway, so the car chase happens. Batman gets out of the Batmobile, actually you see the Batmobile for the first time in the movie, so that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool scene.
If there's some things that don't hold the test of time, it might be the way the Batmobile is designed. Okay. But what the Batmobile can do is still amazing. I mean, guy jumps out of the car, says in his little fob.
Yeah,
shields,
Alexa
fob shields, and then all of a sudden shields come over the Batmobile. So that's a pretty nice little thing to have. You get to see Batman actually fight some goons, not some crack guys on the top of a building. You get to see some guys that look like, you know, they've been trained.
Fighting scenes too.
Solid fighting scenes. You see a dude with double swords. He kind of pulls like a Harrison Ford Raiders of the Lost Ark move, where the guy does all the sword moves and stuff like that. So instead of, Harrison Ford pulling out the gun, just shooting the guy. The guy comes running at him. He just kicks him one time and knocks the guy out. So that's pretty awesome.
He does some defensing though beforehand.
Oh yeah.
He shows he knows some martial arts in there.
You can tell that there's a backstory. As far as like how anyway, so Vicky Vale takes a picture of him somehow when they lit the masks. Anyway, so he decides to abduct Vicky Vale, and I feel like this whole scene is almost like I feel like Batman just made a mistake. Because Batman already cracked the case as far as like how people are dying from the Joker's chemical mixings and stuff like that. He's got a whole folder just sitting in the Batcave. So if I think his plan was to actually give this folder to Vicky Vale or a reporter or a cop, I feel like he just forgot it, because there's no reason to bring her back to the Batcave to give her to like feel her up and then you could have knocked her out in the Batmobile
and taken the film
because it's a huge journey. So now if you think about it, he takes Vicky Vale, he takes her all the way to the Batcave, knocks her out. Then he's got to put her back in the Batmobile, bring her home, or unless he has Alfred do it. So that way it doesn't look so suspicious.
Or maybe Alfred was still trying to figure. Maybe Alfred was the one on the back computer figuring out the chemical mess.
Maybe.
That's a stretch, though.
It's a stretch. But if he does actually have Alfred bring her home, and then now he's dressed up as Bruce Wayne, so now it's not Batman sneaking up and dropping her off at her apartment, then it kind of makes sense to bring her home first so he can change and then do that. But if that wasn't happening, it just seems like you didn't need to bring her to the Batcave.
No, there was no reason.
You should have brought this information with you. But you also didn't think he was going to have to abduct her, that she was going to take a picture of him and steal microfilm. Think about it. He should have already had this information on
him. Because it's like to save people's lives at this point, right? Or he could have just sent it to the police or the media.
He could have.
Direct.
Yeah. Anyways, unnecessary, but still fun. All right. So anyway, so we're trying to set up this we're trying to set up the meeting. So
now Bruce Wayne is going to apologize, and actually Alfred convinces him to tell her that he's Batman.
That's right.
So not only he's going to go apologize for, kind of ghosting her for about a week now, a couple of days from their first date where they actually slept together,
Smash.
Alfred's like, just tell her so she can understand what you're kind of going through. So he goes there and he's fumbling, trying to explain to her that,
okay, so the fumble, there's another one of my favorite lines, and I don't think it holds up now, but it's awesome, because this is how awesome Bruce Wayne is, because he knows he's a billionaire. He's got the huge mansion. He showed off his big table to her during the dinner date and stuff like that.
That setup date.
He's trying to talk to her, but she's so mad, she's not letting him talk. So Bruce says to Vicky, he grabs her, he kind of forces her to sit down, and he says, "Look, you're a real nice girl. I like you a lot, but right now, shut up. I have something to tell you."
That definitely wouldn't hold up.
And she was like, "Oh man, this is dead serious. Like, okay, I guess I will shut up." And then he's fumbling, trying to tell her this stuff, and now all of a sudden, now she's not mad anymore. Now all of a sudden, she's trying to like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay. You can tell me. So right when he's about to say, "I'm Batman,"
the Joker comes.
A knock at the door, and the Joker's there. So anyways, the Joker comes in. He's all mad because their date got ruined because Batman showed up. So anyways, so Joker finally sees Bruce. Bruce comes out, introduces himself, and then they have small words with each other. I want to play this clip because I love... This is when Beetlejuice shows up a little bit, which I love. Beetlejuice kind of shows up, but then something revealing comes up that all of a sudden changes the way Bruce looks at the Joker again. So
it's a big reveal. Yeah,
so there's he's already thought that he killed Napier, but Napier comes back as the Joker. So then another event's about to happen where now he's going to look at the Joker in a totally different way. So let's listen.
You know what happened to this guy, Jack? What? Made mistakes. And then he had us.
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it. Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Such a good scene.
It is. Good. What is rhubarb?
I don't know, but maybe I want some. I'm not too sure. Anyways, that's such a good scene. Great line, great scene. You see a little bit of Beetlejuice kind of pop out into Bruce Wayne a little bit, but he shows his little craziness. But
this leads you to the major reveal. So we still don't know what the reveal is yet because we still haven't seen the flashback. But that whole line, "Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight,"
is used again. So then fast forward to the movie, now we actually see Bruce Wayne's flashback and kind of how the event that actually leads him to become Batman. And it kind of mirrors, that beginning scene,
that opening scene.
The opening scene in the movie where you see this married couple with their kid kind of walk down an alley called, what's it, Crime Alley?
Crime Alley. It's nicknamed Crime Alley now.
Yeah. But they walk down this alley and then they get mugged. And then you see the mom, you see the dad get killed by this guy. After the guy kills them, he points the gun at the kid, and then he says that same exact line. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
He was ready to blow him away.
So he's ready to blow him away. He was about to kill him, and then this guy, with the partner in crime for this character, tells him to kind of, come on, let's go, Jack, let's go. So then it's revealed, now Bruce Wayne's figured out that this guy, who's
Jack
the Joker,
Napier.
Jack Napier, he's the guy who killed his parents. So now things have changed. So this is where every scene after this is now, I feel like it's not, I guess, mentioned or talked about, and I feel like it should be because now Batman's just killing people.
Oh, yeah.
And and I never realized that as a kid. And
this is full vengeance mode.
And the only time I actually remember Batman killing someone on purpose, questionable when he drops the Joker at the end of the movie, but then also like in Batman Returns, at least I'm talking about like the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher universe, or like when he takes the bomb and he puts it on the clown in Batman Returns, and then that guy clearly blows up. But then for the rest of the movie, Batman's kill count is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So it takes him now, like, we're going to fast forward a little bit. Vicky Vale, Alfred brings her to the Batcave. She figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. The Joker interrupts a press conference with the mayor. The mayor's canceling this 200th year event that Gotham's going to, we're going to celebrate 200 years of Gotham, but the Joker kind of intercepts it and basically says, no, we're still going to have a parade. Not only are we going to have a parade, I'm going to give away $200 million.
$20 million.
Oh, is it $20 million?
$20 million.
200 sounds better.
You had a little inflation there.
Yeah, a little inflation. So $20 million, but then also I'm challenging Batman to a one-on-one fight.
Yeah.
All right, so Batman knows what's about to happen. Batman knows that the Joker's been making this chemical stuff or anything like that, so he decides now I'm going to go to the chemical plant /
hideout.
Hideout.
We're assuming that's his hideout.
I'm assuming, yeah. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to blow this place up regardless of who is there. And so I counted it. Keep in mind, he's not even in the Batmobile. He just sends the Batmobile because he knows he's
minigun out.
Minigun's out. I don't think the minigun kills anybody.
No, it just opens cuts open the door. The door.
So the Batmobile goes into the building, drops a bomb where you clearly see like 10 to 15 like goons kind of going up shooting this Batmobile, and then the whole place blows up. There's no way these guys got evacuated in time. It's just they're dead. They're gone. Batmobile comes out. Then you see that Batman wasn't in the Batmobile, and then the parade starts.
Yeah.
The parade starts. The Joker comes out listening to,
Prince again. Great scene. One of my favorites again.
It's so good.
Just watching the goons dance is kind of so funny to me because they're like the actors are forcing themselves to kind of dance as hip as they can for 1989.
But keep in mind, there's
though.
Another meeting behind the scenes though. So another meeting. So we're going to get on this float and we're going to be throwing money out, and I want you guys to be up there dancing, having a great time. Remember, the brand is what's going to sell us.
Oh yeah.
So we got to make sure that we're on brand the entire time. So there's definitely a meeting that happens behind the scenes. So the parade's happening. They're throwing out money. They brought these giant floats, and the floats are actually releasing this toxin. Yeah. And it starts killing everybody. So Batman's now in the Batwing, which is freaking awesome. But Batwing looks awesome, but let's just say that this thing's a piece of shit. And we're going to talk about why it's a piece of shit. So the Batwing comes in, takes all the balloons, takes them off. And
this leads into one of my favorite scenes.
We're going to play this. We're going to play this scene. Which leads into a really good scene because once again, we're going to see how crazy the Joker is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, rest in peace. Rest in peace. But let's play this scene. Let's play the scene.
He stole my balloons! Why didn't somebody tell me that he had one of those things?
Bob? Gun. Going to need a minute or two alone, boys.
Without even hesitating. Kills Bob.
You don't see that coming at all.
I didn't.
Right? I mean, Bob protected him earlier in the movie when that crooked cop, Eckhart, tries to pull a gun on, and Bob is like over his shoulder ready with his gun.
Yeah.
Like he was the perfect number one guy.
Yeah, he was the Joker's number one fan.
Yeah,
he basically followed that guy wherever he went, and
perfect wingman.
And you can't believe that he would shoot Bob. Like, I mean, you think you take the gun out, maybe shoot a different henchman that's like right next to him, one of the guys who can't dance that's on the float, but he shoots Bob.
I understand why he shot Bob, because remember, Bob was in charge of recon.
Yep.
Right?
Bob
dropped the ball and not knowing about the Batwing.
Bob was in charge of everything. Bob was in charge of recon. Bob was in charge of branding. Bob was in charge of making sure that everybody like knew their place.
His personal bodyguard.
Bob was the number one henchman. We're making mugs. We got to make mugs.
Yeah, I like that idea.
We got to make the mugs. All right, so the rest of the movie kind of falls into place. The Batwing's coming back around again. So the Joker comes out, kind of challenges Batman. Come on, you want to hit me? Let's go.
He tries.
He tries. So he's got to have the same targeting device as Luke Skywalker did on the X-Wing when he's trying to blow up the Death Star, because this thing can't hit shit. So he targets the Joker and shoots bullets,
minigun again, missiles, everything.
And it's killing all the henchmen around him. Yeah. The body count's it's going higher. He's up to 30 now. He's up to 30
easily.
kills. Somehow can't kill the Joker. Bob's last gift to the Joker. The Joker pulls out this handgun, this 6-shooter. That's like Dirty Harry's gun on crack.
Yeah.
That just extends, like, it's like the barrel is like the length of his leg.
Yeah. Becomes a rifle now.
Yeah. One look at the Batwing, shoots it, and then knocks the Batwing out of the sky. Yeah. Batwing crashes. So the most impressive, or it looked like a very impressive vehicle that he had.
Oh, yeah.
And it ended up being a piece of shit. The Batwing,
one bullet.
Batwing looked great, but it did not work well at all. So anyway, Batman's Batwing goes down. Vicky Vale goes to see if he's okay. Joker grabs Vicky Vale, walks Vicky Vale up to the
top of the church.
No, he calls in the radio first and basically says, "Hey, pick me up with a helicopter on top of the church. I'm bringing company." Yeah. And then takes Vicky Vale and drags her ass all the way up this church bell tower thing. There's a lot of steps. Like if she had,
they're in great shape. Yeah. I know I couldn't do that.
Yeah, if she had her watch on, those counting her steps, she definitely hit it for sure.
And one of the her shoes fall off.
Shoes falls off. So anyway,
and she still gets up there.
So then you make it all the way to the top. Finally, Batman, he makes it all the way to the top.
Yeah.
And then what do we find there? This is one of my WTF moments. There's 3 goons already up there.
And 3 of his best.
3 of his best
goons,
best fighters. And it makes you think at some point they had a meeting and he's like, this is going to be my getaway tower. I'm pretty sure Batman's going to be following me. During the entire parade, I need you guys to hang out on top of the bell tower.
Where did those guys come from?
I don't know. They were up there playing cards or something like that. Anyway, so Batman gets up there, knocks one dude out with one punch. He killed that guy's dead. I'm gonna add him to the kill count. He hit that guy right in the nose. It went up to his brain. He's dead. There's 61. Then another dude,
really big dude.
Was he that big?
He looked pretty big. If you rewatch it, he looked like he was that's why he went right through the floor.
Well, Batman didn't even know the guy was there. So
he was a big guy.
Yeah, but that guy just went through the floor. He's dead. But then this other dude comes out.
Oh, he starts wailing on him.
Yeah, Batman's not holding his own on that.
He's an angry dude.
He survives it. He throws him down the bell tower thing, but that dude's dead.
Oh.
So 62 kills. I'm going to give Batman 62 kills in this movie for sure. So anyways, now Batman's defeated the 3 goons. Vicky Vale's, and that whole time, Vicky Vale is dancing with the Joker while this entire fight's happening, which is pretty...
And he's holding on to the gimmick gun that's now smaller.
It's small. He retracted it. You actually see him retract it. Yeah. And then he acts like he's going to shoot himself, and now it's like a bang flag comes out. Yeah. So anyway,
he loaded that properly. Bullet, then bang sign.
Yeah. So Vicky Vale sees Vicky Vale sees Batman. He's going to try to save her. She tries to seduce the Joker a little bit, and it kind of looks like at the end of it is going to...
Oh, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
She goes down.
She's going down. And then Batman comes in and beats the crap out of the Joker.
Yeah.
You think he throws the Joker over. Kill count 63. No. Joker's there. He falls to a different ledge, grabs Batman, throws him and Vicky Vale over, so now they're hanging for their lives.
He's celebrating a little bit.
He's celebrating. The helicopter finally shows up.
Yeah.
He gets on the helicopter ladder. Batman's got one more trick for him. By the way, the helicopter's on brand.
You know what? As soon as you just said that, I had the picture in mind. He gets a helicopter. He used a lot of Grissom's money for this rebranding.
Yes,
because it's all like within a week.
Yeah. So anyways, Batman shoots like this boomerang.
It had like 2 ends. One wraps around the statue, a gargoyle.
Well, he shoots a rope that grabs a gargoyle statue, and then the
Joker's leg.
Joker's leg. Joker can't hold on. He falls down to his death. That's kill count 63 now. Yeah. So 63 kills for Batman. And then this is Bob's final branding
This
move.
really is.
All right, you tell the final branding move.
Now, I know when I was a kid and the first time I saw this, you hear him laughing. I'm like, oh, wait, he's still alive? And then I guess the commissioner comes, pulls out of his jacket pocket a green, baggie with some device that's just laughing.
Yeah.
So think about this. He's falling to his death and he's like, you know what? Let me turn on this laugh. This is my final laugh, right? Creepy laugh.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks he's like, even if you watch it, everybody's approaching him really cautiously because they still think he's alive, but it's really a gag box. I don't know where Bob found that one.
Bob might have made
I wonder
that.
if they sell those. I should look online.
They probably do.
They have to.
Bob was also a seamstress. He sewed that thing.
Sewed it right into the jacket pocket. Yep. It was crazy.
Bob
but
mugs.
Great scene still.
We got to get the Bob mugs. I mean, and then after that, the city finds out that they love Batman.
Yeah.
Batman gives them as a reward a way to signal him, which is the bat signal.
Yeah.
And then
better than that little phone that phone he had in that statue.
The red phone.
Yeah, the red phone. A little bit better than that.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, all in all, in my opinion, that it was a great movie throughout the entire thing. Whether it still holds up, we'll talk about it in a second. But that's the movie. I mean, I know we ran through it as fast as we possibly could. We picked our scenes, but that's the movie. Let's take a break. We'll come back, and then let's talk about some other random hot takes and rankings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So, I mean, I'm going to start off. So the most random thing, at least for this movie, and I feel like I was searching a little bit, but the most random thing I felt in this movie was like Joker's fetish for art.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In the comic books, he might have like an art fetish. I mean, there might be something about it.
Yeah, I totally missed that part.
Yeah, if it was there, I never saw it. But that was probably one of the most random things for me. Another random thing, and I feel like we touched upon this a little bit, was the cosmetic Joker formula laughing gas thing. Like, I guess, Gotham's having an issue with their cosmetics, and it seemed to only affect the newscasters because they're the only ones that looked really bad, but everybody else still looked pretty good.
They looked horrible.
The newscasters looked all oily, her hair's all frizzy.
They had stuff growing on them, like molds and stuff.
But it only affected the newscasters. So it's either maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe because it's the newscasters' responsibility to get the
fear of God into everybody.
The fear of God in everybody. So maybe that was actually a subconscious point on their part where they're kind of like, we just have to look like hell so that way maybe we can save some lives and people stop using it.
Because that's the only thing that makes sense.
But that's a far reach. That's a far reach for me.
Yeah, that was definitely random. On my end, honestly, it was all the great Joker branded items. I'm talking about the buzzer, the acid flower, the jackets, the cars, masks. The most random for me, obviously, was the laughing box. Come on, dude. You're about to die. You're falling down. You're dying.
That means he pressed
turning it on.
Yeah, he's turning it on.
It's the weirdest thing. So of course he turned it on before he died. That's the most random for me. How quickly he got all these cool branded items. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Well, that's because of
overnight.
Bob.
Yeah,
that's because of Bob.
Bob executed on the vision. Bob executed on the vision.
Yeah. All right, let's go with hot takes now. My hot take, at least for this movie, is Nicholson and Keaton killed it. Nicholson has the edge mostly because of his character and the dialogue for the character. Keaton seems to always be in the conversation when it comes to talking about best Batman.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Nicholson's been kind of lost a little bit in the conversation, mostly because Heath Ledger and then obviously Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, both of them. Did Joaquin win the award?
He won the best actor.
Yeah, so you got Heath Ledger won Best Supporting and then
Best Actor.
And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But by no means does that mean that Jack Nicholson didn't give a great performance. And
he did.
Yeah, and I'm not saying his performance is better than any of their performances or vice versa. He just gave a different take that I thought was amazing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if this movie comes out today, obviously some things are changed as far as special effects and blah, blah, blah. But you take the same age Michael Keaton, you take the same age Jack Nicholson. Do you think Jack Nicholson gets nominated for an award? Because back then, there wasn't a lot of actors in comic book movies.
Comic book movies didn't get respect.
They didn't. And it's kind of almost a recent thing when they started getting respect.
Yeah.
And it might have been actually from Heath Ledger because I think he was probably the first nominated actor. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like he's probably the first nominated actor in an actual comic book.
but definitely probably the first to win an Academy Award for something other than like visuals and
I
special
think this
effects
actually
or
won
costume.
for visuals or something. This might have actually won something for that. But especially for actor, I think that's the first thing. So, but if you take Nicholson now and you throw him in there.
That's a really good question because he did such a good job.
It was a great job.
I mean, I think he might have at least gotten a nomination for a performance.
Yeah, I would think he gets a nomination. Especially now since they've added more people can get a nomination, I believe. So now I think it would be easier for him. That's my hot take. I think they both stand out. This movie and these performances, I feel like, should be shared with other generations just because they're so good.
Yeah, they're so good.
That's my hot take.
For me, I'll take it a step further. Not only did Jack and the Joker character steal the show in terms of the performance of the movie to me should have been called The Joker. It's really like his origin story. It's his character arc that's evolved. It's the first step in making the Joker what myself and many others consider the greatest fictional villain of all time, right? Before that, Joker wasn't what he is now. I mean, after 30 years and all the different iterations of Joker, the character itself,
right?
All the previous Jokers were, like comical. They weren't as serious or as insane as Jack. And the performance kind of put it to where everybody's going to use Jack's performance as a benchmark to try to either match or one up. And that to me is groundbreaking in itself. That you're watching a movie, a superhero movie, and the villain it's kind of like the Vader thing where you're more intrigued with what's going on with the villain than the actual hero. Because Jack probably has more screen time than even Batman in the movie. It's like he has all the best one-liners, the best monologues. Most of the best scenes are his. Burton did a conscious thing on really emphasizing the Joker, and I really appreciated that. That's one of the reasons I love this movie. I'm a villain guy. I love villains, so. That's
interesting. I did not feel that I was more intrigued by the Joker in this movie. I also didn't feel like this was his origin story, especially since as far back as you see him, I mean, the farthest you see him, he's like got to be in his mid-20s when you see him in the flashback and he kills Bruce Wayne's parents. But he was already evil. So, I mean, Jack Napier was already a bad guy. All he did was basically just got a little bit crazier falling into the acid and becoming the Joker. So I feel like to be his true origin story, you'd have to see how he became evil. You know what I mean?
Well,
and that's kind of how I feel like it's not really an origin story. It's maybe like but maybe a transformation story or something like that. Well, but he was already, I mean, look, if you're going to go out there and kill people regardless, that already makes you a nut job.
Yeah.
How you do it, that's entirely up to you. So if he decides he wants to throw some branding behind it and get some jackets and some like fucking cars and all that kind of stuff, then either way, you're still killing a bunch of people regardless if your name is Jack Napier or your name is the Joker. So for me, I didn't see that, but I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I totally get it.
See that, yeah.
From my point of view, it's like it's really making it mainstream where this character Joker came from, giving him a real name, giving him, how did he become the Joker? Oh, well, in this story, bullet through the cheek, vat of what we were calling acid, whatever, chemicals, random chemicals, and that enhanced his lunacy, right? So that point of the origin is what's really important to me, because it's like before, there's obviously in the comics, there's different takes and things like that. But in terms of mainstream media, it was interesting. And then, you fast forward now 30 years later and you get the Joaquin Phoenix version, and it's a whole different kind of take on how he became the Joker in that story. So and that's the meaning I mean when I say it's his origin story. It gives us like a backstory to say, oh, that's Jack Napier. That's how he becomes the Joker. So that's where my approach is on that.
So here's a question for you. Since, let's just say he becomes the Joker and that just adds to his kill count a little bit. Because now he's like, all right, now I'm a little crazier, so I'm going to kill a little bit more people. Here's a question. Who killed more people in this movie? Batman or the Joker? On screen.
On screen, definitely Batman.
I think Batman did.
I mean, at the power plant, he's taking out the janitor, the chemical plant. He's taking out the janitor, anybody who was doing work late, everybody went out in that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So about the people that died when they're getting reported on, like the two models, obviously the girl that dies on air.
Yeah. And they didn't report anybody else on screen. We're saying on screen.
I think they come back and they say 5 more people died or something like that. And that's when they look like hell.
Yeah.
But then also let's count
the parade.
The people that died in the parade.
That's a good amount.
And then the people that died in the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't packed, but it was.
I mean, that was that's
you
at
know
least,
what?
I'd say that's at least 15 to 20 people.
Yeah.
I think Joker
probably passed him on that.
It's close.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. I think I was actually saying 60 count in the actual. I think I really only counted like around 30, and somehow I just gave him an extra 30. So at some point I just like miscounted, because if you count like maybe 15 here at the chemical plant, and then 15 at the parade, and then you got the 1, 2, 3.
Joker 4 up at the end.
So I think it's a 34 kill count, and that's just that we're just guesstimating. All right, let's move on. Ranking. All right, so where I rank this movie. So I'm looking at your notes. I'm looking at my notes. We are kind of on the same page, but it's some parts we're on the same page, other parts we're not. So this movie, in my opinion, and I believe yours, is number one when it's compared to the same universe movies. We're talking about the Burton Schumacher movies, which is
same Alfred.
Same Alfred, same Commissioner Gordon, but different Batman. So Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. So close number one, because I really do also like Batman Returns a lot. Which this
great
could
performances in that.
This could change once we actually do Batman Returns, and I take extensive notes like I did on this. That my opinion can change, but right now I believe this one is the go-to as far as those four. Now, when it comes to the Christopher Nolan movies,
I have those ahead.
This is a far better movie for me than Batman Begins. It's a better villain, by far a better villain. And I already think Michael Keaton's already a better Batman than Christian Bale. So that off the bat, and if you look at story-wise,
they had two villains in Batman Begins. I mean, and both were pretty solid.
Were they solid?
Yeah. What was wrong with them? And then you have a nice reveal.
We're jumping.
For people
we're going to do that
didn't.
movie. We're jumping it, but I mean, we'll jump into that. But
I'm a Nolan like diehard.
Okay, let's just for a second, let's just say that those are both solid.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's the Joker.
Yeah.
Or I can't even remember the guy's name. Who plays
Liam Neeson?
Not Liam Neeson. We'll get to Liam in a second. So
don't get Key and Peele on you here.
You know what?
For Liam
Neeson.
Neeson.
If I had to pick, Jack Nicholson's the Joker or Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul.
Okay, yeah.
Who do you want in the movie?
Of course, his Joker is going to always win out, and the performance by Jack is better.
Especially the fighting scenes that they actually even had, which is kind of a joke.
That's not only the movie.
Okay, so but you're throwing in villains. If you're saying
like those
villains, I know, but I'm saying I also think the story is, in my opinion, this one's more compelling than Batman Begins.
No, the way he tells the story is great, though.
We'll agree to disagree. We'll revisit these movies at some point, and then
we got to watch them.
And then Dark Knight Returns. I still think this is a better movie than Dark Knight Returns, because there's so many WTF moments in I only found like 2 or 3 in this movie.
Oh, all his gags overnight.
But Bob's an amazing human being, so we're gonna give him Bob. I'm talking but throughout the movie, we talked about the henchman on top of the bell tower and all those little things. But we're talking in The Dark Knight Rises. You tell me Batman spent the time to write his symbol on the bridge before he lit it on fire?
Come on, that's marketing. Marketing is important.
Yeah.
That's letting everybody know he's back.
He doesn't have a Bob, and Alfred ain't making that climb, dude. So he's got nobody in his corner.
Well, now there's technology. Maybe he has.
Moving on. So the only ones
Lucius Fox did it. That's who did it.
Maybe. Yeah, I could see Morgan Freeman climbing that thing.
He got a bot to do that.
Dan in a crane. I can't even do it. So now we're talking about The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the characters in this one. I do love the story of The Dark Knight, because it's almost like there is no story. It's just basically complete chaos.
Yeah, because he's a harbinger of chaos.
Yeah, and I love that. I love there's no origin for the Joker in that movie. He just basically goes. No one can figure out who he is. There's
great.
And I love that part about it. But if we're comparing Jack Nicholson versus Heath Ledger as far as Joker, I'm just going to give him a push for right now, because they both give amazing performances. They both play him differently.
I want to rewatch it, yeah.
In different universes. I feel like I'm sure if we went head-to-head, there'd be a winner, but for right now, I'm giving it a wash. I already like Keaton better than Christian Bale, so I'm going to give that Batman a little bit of an edge. But as far as everything else,
how about Billy D. Williams, Two-Face versus
I would have loved to see it.
Eckhart.
Oh my God, I would have loved to see it. But I like Eckhart though.
I know he was good.
But I would, and that's where it'd be like, okay, I feel like Dark Knight would probably beat out this Batman, maybe for me. But once I revisit it, I don't know. I will say I did rewatch it after seeing this new Batman, because
that's a whole nother thing.
And
it has its points.
The fight, it's really the choreographing in those movies are just so piss poor.
On which one? On Nolan's?
All of Nolan's. Yeah. All 3 of them. They're really bad. So that's my opinion.
I'm going to get you to come over to my side.
We'll see.
Let's jump into awards.
Best wingman. Bob for sure.
Bob
is the
wins
best.
that one.
Bob is the best henchman, wingman, stager, choreographer.
Brand, manager, everything.
I just gave, okay, there you go. You want to know what happens? Okay. This movie has the edge over The Dark Knight because The Dark Knight doesn't have a Bob. All right? I'll tell you that right now.
There is no one like that guy.
There is no Bob
none.
in The Dark Knight. And he is the glue that holds the Joker. Because if there's no Bob...
none of this stuff is executed.
I don't feel like Joker's got anybody in this corner. Yeah. I don't think that anything's happening over there. They're all coming out mismatched. Their hair's all raggedy.
One guy didn't get the memo, comes in a suit. You know what I mean? Shows up in a suit. Like, dude, we're not doing suits no more. We're in leather jackets. No one told me this. Yeah. He was on vacation or something.
Bob hand-delivered every single person's itinerary before they went out.
No more suits. We're doing leather jackets. It's 89.
Yeah, so Bob is the unsung hero.
And he beats out Alfred in this because Alfred,
100%.
He fumbled that scene with Vicky Vale coming down, and it's like, oh, have a nice trip. We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
Like, dude, that's like bro code, like rules right there. How do you? And he knows
Alfred ain't his bro. Alfred's his dad.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that.
But still, my dad would be covering for me. And I'd be covering for my kid.
Exactly, right? Like, of course, we'll let you know.
But it's not like he's covering him because he's got another date. Alfred should know that this is
the
anniversary of your
death.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
You're part of the family, Alfred. You're gonna get buried back on Wayne Manor like everybody else. Okay, so you should know when it comes to that family.
I can't believe he fumbled that right there.
Yeah.
After he gave him the great assist the night before to get him, Vicky with whatever stupid stories he was telling after they were eating the soup. I mean, come on.
I still think that whole scene, that's like Bruce Wayne's go-to. Like, get a date,
pressure.
Put her into the giant dining room, make her feel like she's isolated, and then make her feel like you're down to earth. Come on, let's go hang out with the butler. And then the butler tells some good stories, and then bam, you got her right where you want her.
And to think about it, also, if she's like, I don't want to listen to this old dude, she's not the one. He's using that to gauge her too.
That's true.
Sure. Like, oh, this. She's only out here for the money.
Yeah.
But she passed the Alfred test as well.
Yeah.
Think of it from that point of view.
Yeah. That's what Alfred knew. Like,
great date idea.
Once he gets Alfred's go ahead, that's when Alfred just leaves and just locks the door behind him. I have to say goodnight to everyone. Yeah. Door's locked. Then all of a sudden the Prince music comes on. All right, so that's my award. I think you're pretty good.
Yeah, we're on the same. All right. Yep.
Final thoughts. Does this movie hold up?
The big question.
Yeah, dude, this movie holds up for sure. This movie needs to be shared with every generation. My kids need to watch it. My kids need to watch it.
I can't wait until my kid is a little older to be able to watch this. He's into Batman now. Like, he's watching Bat Wheels on HBO Max. Yeah. And, like, he's all, over the summer, it's been all Batman. So I can't wait to share this with him.
Good. And then, what's great is, at least for him, as he's getting older, and with James Gunn kind of taking over the DC universe, hopefully that universe is going to grow with him.
Oh, and
so
that's right.
He's going to see something that's, hopefully just as special as what the MCU has become. And that'd be pretty nice for some DC fans to actually get into.
That's one thing this character brings a lot of joy to a lot of different generations because, like, when I was younger, I enjoyed rewatching those Adam West campy things with my little brother.
I love
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed those. I enjoyed this movie. I love the animated series. Mm-hmm. Nolan knocked it out of the park for me, of course. And, my son was watching the Lego Batman movie the other day, and I never saw it. And I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this is really good.
They're not making a sequel to it.
But it's really good. I was like everything Batman touches, I mean, I think obviously Warner Brothers makes sure that, people know it's like this is their crown jewel. You got to really take care of it. I thought the last Batman was entertaining. It had a lot of issues. We'll bring that up when we do an episode on that. But it wasn't horrible.
Right, but Batman's the crown jewel.
Yeah,
really because of Tim Burton.
Tim
Burton's vision is what made it the crown jewel because there was. It was Superman. There's really Superman was the face of the DC universe or
He's a
DC
sleeping
comics
giant.
and everything. But the problem with Superman is Superman's not relatable for everybody.
Yeah.
In the comic books, Batman was relatable because the average Joe Schmo could be a Batman. The average Joe Schmo can't be a Superman. But Tim Burton.
Well, not the average show. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Got to be a billionaire
that's
first.
Lex Luthor. That's Lex Luthor.
I like that.
Yeah. So, but Tim Burton took that universe and like put it on the big screen, and people gravitated to it because the way it looked, the way the performances, the actors, and he put that whole thing together. Warner Brothers tried to carry that on even without Burton. Like there's conversations about the third movie, why he didn't do the third movie when I'm sure we're going to do the third movie at some point. I didn't mind.
I didn't think the third movie was as bad as some people say it was. I enjoyed it. Loved the video game too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't as it's the third best out of those four for sure. But there's still some moments, that you could just feel that because of the
new
backlash.
Direction?
Well, yeah, because of the new direction, but also because some of the backlash, because he kept making this movie was dark. Batman Returns was even darker. Yeah. So Warner Brothers didn't want to go that dark. So then they wanted to pull back, and that's when he left the franchise. Yeah. Michael Keaton's like, he saw the script, he's out. So now it's like, we're going, like, that's for a different conversation. But I just feel like he started that universe, and Warner Brothers saw the money coming in and kept running with it until it was killed in Batman and Robin. Ugh. And then they waited for the right time to, rebrand it, reset it. Christopher Nolan was the perfect person to do it at that time. And he gave, arguably one of the best trilogies in cinema.
Yeah.
Even though he got a curveball with Heath Ledger dying, but still.
Yeah.
It's still up there.
Oh, for sure.
And, they're trying to copy it again right now.
Ben did a good job on his in his version in the Zack Snyder universe. And, Pattinson wasn't horrible.
So check this out. So here's a little take on Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's actually going to play Batman more than anybody else has played Batman.
Yeah?
Batman vs. Superman.
Suicide Squad.
He's in Batman. He's in Suicide Squad. He's in Justice League. He's going to be showing up in the Flash movie. He's in the new Aquaman movie.
Oh, wow. That's 5 already.
That's already 5.
Wow. So even though they're little cameos, but still.
Little cameos, but he's still in 5 movies playing Batman.
Wow.
And if you want to count the redo of Justice League.
Oh, yeah. Which is way better.
It is way better. But the rumor is, and, obviously, James Gunn.
We'll bring him back in
Might
there?
be bringing him back, so who knows?
An older, I think they should just reset the whole universe and start over.
I want to see where it goes. All right, so my take for sure holds up. Generations need to see
Same here, holds up.
Most important character of this entire thing is Bob.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that guy. Definitely holds up for me too. I mean, this is a movie that 30 years later, I enjoyed it. I'm 30 years older. I enjoyed it. And I'll enjoy it 30 years from now with my grandkids.
Good. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Still Holds Up, Batman 1989. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Still Holds Up, a Rot Your Brain podcast. Subscribe to the Still Holds Up podcast feed at rotyourbrainmedia.com/stillholdsup. Follow us on Twitter at @rot_yourbrain and support Rot Your Brain Media and its podcast by being a part of this exciting new and growing community. Visit patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia.